Fill her up.
You're listening to the Gas Digital Network.
Conceive, believe, achieve. Shut the f*** up.
You're listening to Believe You Me with Michael the Count Bisping.
You know my name yet?
And Anthony Lionheart Smith.
Ladies and gentlemen, today I am joined by the one and only legendary fighter, comedian, extraordinaire, UFC analyst, legendary coach, the one and only Mr. Dean Thomas. What's going on, Dean?
I'm good, man. I didn't know you thought about me that way. Well, I'm honored to be on the show today.
Brother, come on, man. Everything I said's true, especially the comedian stuff. You are fucking hilarious on social media, man.
I like to pick on you guys, man. You guys are so easy to pick on, man. It's awesome.
Yeah. You do pick on all of us quite a lot. Even Dana White. You always take the piss out of Dana as well.
Well, you know what? I think I'm one of the only people in the world that can, because we do the show together. Dana White looking for a fight. And like, that's the dynamic of our relationship. So he allows me to pick on him. It's funny.
Yeah. No, It's perfect. It's perfect. Listen, Dean, you're perfect to join us today as well, because obviously the UFC 299 going down this weekend. Dustin Poirier's fighting. You used to coach at ATT, right? Is that correct?
Yeah, I did.
Yes,
I worked with Dustin. Yeah, so I worked with Dustin for a little bit. In fact, like when I was still fighting, me and Dustin were just straight training partners. Right. Then when I retired, you know, I did work with him a few times for a few of his fights, but what a tremendous athlete and human being that man is.
Oh, 100%. We'll get to that in a second. So how have you found that, Dean? Obviously, you know, from being a from being a fighter to now being a coach and also an analyst for the UFC. How's that whole journey been, you know?
I mean, the thing is, Mike, getting started in this game in the mid 90s, you know, I've done it all. So like for me, when people talk about, oh, you're a coach or you're this, you're that, I feel like I've done everything that MMA has to offer. Like really, like it's from promoting my own shows to grappling tournaments to coaching to owning schools to a little bit of everything. So I've done everything in this game. So I just love still being a part of it.
Yeah, no, and that's incredible, Dana. When you say the mid 90s, I mean, that's wild. I mean, people said to me in England, they're very kind. They say pioneer and stuff like that. The mid flipping 90s, though. I mean, how's it? As somebody involved in those days then to where it is now, did you ever think this would happen?
Never in a million years. Not in a million years. I remember thinking, man, I wish people took our sport seriously. That's what was on my mind back in the early 2000s and late 90s. They didn't take the sport serious. So I was always wanting, man, like, when are we going to be on ESPN? When are they going to take us serious? Why can't we get treated like real athletes? And now to see where we are today, I'm just blown away. I really am. I'm blown away. To be able to sit on airplanes and watch fights on here, like it just blows my mind. Yeah, but I'm happy. I'm happy.
I should have said the fashion forward Dean Thomas as well, because you love a good cravat.
Okay. I'm very posh in that sense, Mike. I'm very posh.
No, and I love it. I love it. So when you say mid 90s, what was the first UFC event that you ever fought on?
I fought on UFC 31, and that was in 2001.
Yeah.
So I fought BJ Penn in 2001, and obviously I got knocked out. That was my first UFC fight. I got knocked out. I was like, damn, no, help, somebody come get me. And then I came back for UFC. That was 32. I'm sorry. UFC 32. I got knocked out. Then I came back for UFC 33. That was in September, just after 9/11. And I fought Fabiano Iha. And that was the very first fight in Las Vegas. Very first sanctioned fight in Las Vegas, and I fought on that card. So,
Fabiano Iha, wow, that's a name I haven't heard in a while.
Yeah, so that was back in 2001.
What was the event where you knocked out your good friend and colleague Matt Serra?
Oh well, I think that was 41. I think that was 41, and that was in Atlantic City. And but I didn't knock him out, man. We had a good little scrap.
A head kick, right?
Oh, no. Yeah, that was Eve Edwards and Josh Thompson. Don't worry. Listen, everybody gets that wrong. In fact, we were doing an episode of Dana White looking for a fight. And I'm sitting next to Habib, and Habib's like, "Hey man, you knocked out my friend." And I'm like, "Who?" He's like, "Josh Thompson." And I'm like, No, man, that's that was Eve Edwards.
Oh shit! Listen, as I say, I thought you'd be perfect to speak to today with UFC 299. Are you in Miami?
Yeah, I'm in I live down here, so I'm pretty close.
Yeah. So Dustin Poirier, you know him very well. Give us your overall thoughts on the events, the fights, and all the rest of it, and then give us some insight into Dustin versus Benoit Saint-Denis.
I mean, I love this event. I mean, when this event started shaping up, everybody was excited for it because just the magnitude of the card and the fights on the card. I mean, when you think about it, when you look at the prelims, fights on the prelims. In fact, the main event on the prelims was actually supposed to be a main event in Brazil. Gelton Almeida versus Curtis Blades. That was a main event in Brazil until Curtis Blades got hurt. And then when you look at fights like Mateus Gamrot taking on RDA, I mean, all these fights on the prelims could be main events at the Apex. So stand alone, this is a tremendous card, one of the best cards that we've seen in a long time. And I think that it's going to live up to the hype because we got a lot of matchups, key matchups that look like veterans versus young guys. So it's a matter of, do these veterans still have it? Can they hold their spot? Or is it time for the young guys to come up? So a lot of exciting storylines on this card. But no more than Dustin Poirier and Benoit Saint-Denis talking about veterans and up-and-comers. I mean, this is a dangerous fight for Dustin. He knows it. That's the reason why he took this fight. But I think he needs to take a fight like this because, you know, these guys at the top, you have to be able to give opportunities to young guys because you got an opportunity once. You got to be able to return the favor. And if you can't win these spots, then maybe you don't deserve to be there. So I think it's a perfect fight for Dustin if he can win. If he doesn't win, I think this is a situation where he might need to look into the mirror and ask himself, does he really still want to do this?
Yeah, which is funny you say that because he did mention this week. He said every time I fight these days, being what is he, 35 now, 36, it can always be the last one potentially. Benoit Saint-Denis, though, is the opposite side of the spectrum. 5 in a row, 5 wins, 5 stoppages, very, very young, dynamic fighter, very, very well-rounded. What do you think about this matchup? Who do you think walks away the winner?
I mean, it's a tremendous matchup. I mean, Benoit Saint-Denis has been absolutely brilliant inside the octagon. He's got knockout wins. He's got submission wins. So he seems to be able to do it all. But when you're fighting somebody like Dustin, the one thing he is lacking is experience. And Dustin said, okay, I know he's lacking experience because, you know, he doesn't have the cage time that I have. So let's make this 5 rounds and let's make him sit and think about what he's going to do for 25 minutes, which could be a problem for him.
Dustin's idea?
I think so. I think that was Dustin's idea. I'm sure Dustin, and speaking of Dustin, I spoke to him and he said, yeah, he definitely wanted the 5 rounds, the extra 2 rounds, because when you get extra 2 rounds, it's a completely different pacing. You can't go out and throw the type of power that Benoit Saint-Denis does that early. You can, but it's a gamble because you're going to have to try to save some of that for later. And Dustin knows that. So for that reason, I am favoring Dustin to have the experience in this fight, to drag this later on and to wear Benoit Saint-Denis out.
Sly old dog. That's a sly old dog right there. That's
for sure. Though. For sure. If it was 3 rounds, I would probably go the other way. But in a 5-rounder, I think Dustin should be able to maintain his safety early on, not get caught with nothing crazy, not overextend himself, and just move around and play cat and mouse for a little bit, and then start to chop away as this fight progresses.
Amazing. You know, one of the first times I ever saw you in person, Dean, I think it was in Macau when Tyrone Woodley was fighting. Was it Don Young Kim?
Yeah.
The stun gun.
The stun gun. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
You know,
do you still see Tyrone?
Yeah. I just talked to him the other day. That's my boy, man. He's always doing something, man. That's the most resilient individual I've ever met. I mean, he's a guy who, it doesn't matter what happens to him. He lost his last like 4 or 5 fights in the UFC. Then he goes and gets knocked out by Jake Paul, but you still can't tell him nothing. He's still the man. You know, he's still doing his thing. But you know what, Mike? That's not the first time I saw you. The very first time no, wait a minute. This is, I swear,
peace out, everybody.
I swear this is good. You're going to love this one. It was before that whole Dong Young Kim thing. I was in LA shooting like this reality show. It was like low budget reality show. We were shooting a pilot and we went into a club, and inside the club, You and Rampage Jackson were on the dance floor with your shirts off, twirling it around doing a helicopter. I swear to God. I swear to God. And I was like, because I was just kind of doing my thing at the time. You was the man, and you and Rampage was the man, and you was in there swirling your shirt around, shirtless in the club. I was like, oh hell nah.
Oh shit. Oh shit. There is a picture online of me and Rampage with our tops off. If you Google it, you can find it. And it's very, very embarrassing. Because Rampage, he's Rampage is the man. Shout out to him. He's got all the bling and the big chains and everything. I'm from the north of England. We don't wear shit like that. But I was all skinny and I've got I've got my shirt off and I've got his chains on and I look like an absolute dickhead. Hey, you're only young once. We're having fun.
Yeah, man.
Speaking of sly old dogs, speaking of being only young once, this is a segue. Oh, God. Here we go. Oh, God.
Oh, man. Look at this.
Brian, you're fired. You must have seen this news this morning. I got to get your take on this. Dean, you've been around the fight game forever. You can't stay in your prime. Right. And we're not talking about somebody in their prime. I'm talking about Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson, 58 years old, taking on Jake Paul. I've come out and I did a couple of tweets on it. You know what I mean? People think I'm being a hater. People think I'm being jealous. As we know, Jake Paul's doing his thing. What the hell?
No, this matchup. This is not doing your thing. This is absolutely ridiculous. And I couldn't be more upset by this. Because now this is just taking it too far. I get it, man. Okay, you want to fight a couple guys in their early 40s and still think they got it. But you're going to be fighting a man that's almost 60 years old. And the problem with that is that I talked to some guys today who don't really know a lot about fighting. And they really were like, oh, man, Jake Paul's going to get beat up by Mike Tyson. And I was like, he's almost 60 years old. So the fact that there are people that believe that this can be competitive or that Mike Tyson's going to win this, I was like, man, you're crazy. He's almost 60 years old. And Jake Paul ought to be ashamed of himself for doing this. He ought to be ashamed of himself for calling out Mike Tyson to try to fight the legacy and the history of what Mike Tyson has done. That's embarrassing.
That's exactly what I said on Twitter this morning to him directly. I said, you should be ashamed of yourself because what does he gain out of this? What is he going to do? Is he going to go out there and legitimately try to knock out Mike Tyson? Because if you do that and you're successful, when a man that's almost 60 years old, that's just disgraceful, if you ask me. And then, it'd be amazing to see, but it's highly unlikely because Mike Tyson's probably got one round in him, if possible, right? And the power's the last thing to go. If Tyson was successful and managed to find that shot, that'd be incredible. But what does he think he's achieving?
I have no idea. Think about when we saw Evander Holyfield and Vitor Belfort. It wasn't even competitive. And you have to take into account, I'm 47 right now, and I can't fight nobody. You know what I'm saying? I couldn't imagine, at 47, I couldn't imagine fighting a 25-year-old. I couldn't imagine it.
Yeah.
And the fact that he's doing this and calling him out after all he said about the fight game and helping fighters and all this, I want to help fighters make money, blah, 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 blah. This is his way of giving back to the game and putting boxing on the map, calling out Mike Tyson. Come on, man. If you want to help Mike Tyson, allow him to be the special guest referee.
Yeah, 100%. And the way that he did it as well, he put on Twitter this morning, there's a video of him and Rafael Caldera hitting pads. And he said, one of my promoters or whatever sent me this 2 weeks ago and said that Mike Tyson is interested. And when I look at this, I'm like, yeah, this really excites me. Heavyweight, let's do it. I'm like, dude, how stupid do you think the buying public is? Do you really think people are buying this? Listen, fair play to Mike. Go out there, do your thing. I hope he makes a shit ton of money. More importantly, I hope that he's okay. But at what point, as a man, do you allow this to happen when you're in your prime?
I don't get it. To me, I feel like commissions should step in and go, we're not going to allow this to happen. What other sport do you know where a guy is almost 60 years old and still can get in there, except for golf, maybe? But they're not going to let a 60-year-old play football or basketball. It's ridiculous why this is going to even happen. This should not even happen. Like you said, if Mike Tyson were able to land that punch and knock him out, that'd be a gift from God, but it's unlikely. It's highly unlikely that that's going to happen. So the thing with Jake Paul is we don't want him to be good. That's it. We don't want him to be good because he talks a lot. He's a YouTuber. You know, we want him to suck, but he doesn't. The reality is he doesn't suck. And he spent the last 4 or 5 years, spent millions of dollars to have the best resources in the world and the best coaches in the world, and dedicated himself to the sport of boxing. I was in the corner of Tyron Woodley when he knocked him out. It was heartbreaking. Watching Tyron Woodley go face first into the canvas, I wanted to completely quit combat sports at that moment because I was like, it ain't worth it. Like, to watch my friend get hurt like this. Yeah. And so Jake Paul can fight. Let's make no mistake about it. He can fight. He fights better than what we wanted him to be able to. But the fact that the commission would allow this to me, is a disservice to combat sports.
It is a disservice. And Harrington, our producer, just put it in the notes. 50 is the age limit for the senior tour in golf. So he's way past that. He's way past that. So my thing was this. Look, listen, to be fair, we're all trying to make money. Okay. Money makes the world go round. It is a vital part of Western culture. Everybody needs money. Okay. And the more of it, the better. Of course, he's made money. And I'm not just sitting there trying to rip on Jake Paul, but he's got money. By all accounts, he makes millions of dollars every time he fights. From the YouTube side of things, he's made millions and millions of dollars. At what point, as a man, you just say, it's enough. I don't need to do this. And I know we're going around in circles here, but it was just an extra point that I just thought of. It's like, dude, you've got the money. Take on some real boxers. Be a fighter. Challenge yourself.
I don't know, man. Honestly, and me and Anthony Smith talk about this all the time. Like, I'm just not a greedy person like that. I mean, I got to make money and I got to live the lifestyle that I want. And it's not lavish. I want to be able to eat at McDonald's whenever I feel like it. You know, that's it. I don't need anything. I don't need a Lamborghini yacht. But these guys, like, at what point do you just go, all right, man, this is enough money. I don't need to sell myself out for money. And I feel like these guys are selling themselves out for money while they're already rich. And it doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, the cost of Big Macs is going up, Dean Thomas. What is the order when you go to McDonald's? What's your favorite?
Oh man, I never really get the Big Macs, man. Honestly, Mike, I always order off the dollar menu, man. I'm always like, and it's not even a dollar menu no more. It's not even really a dollar menu no more because they're like $1.99 now for like the double cheeseburgers.
Yeah. I do love a good double cheeseburger from McDonald's. I can't let you out of here without getting your thoughts on the main event. Sean O'Malley, Chito Vera. Obviously, a rematch. Chito's the only person to beat him. What is your thoughts on this one?
I always go back and forth with picks, and it just takes the right person to convince me. And it might have been you this time. You listening to your take on Chito bringing in the right partners and knocking them out. Like I was when we were listening to that, I was like, there might be something to that. You know, there might be something to that because I think Chito, especially with 5 rounds, Chito has an ability to beat guys that are better than him, guys that are more skilled, more technical, because he has this uncanny ability to touch you and hurt you and then make you not as good as you once were in the beginning of the fight. I feel as though if Chito can do that, he'll beat Sean O'Malley. He's got 5 rounds to try to find a few shots to hurt O'Malley and make O'Malley start making mistakes. And I think he could put him away. So I kind of think, like, as of right now, I kind of think Chito can do this. I think he can pull it off.
You know, I'm glad you brought that up about, you know, when I said that Chito was knocking out some of his sparring partners. Perillo told me he wasn't being a dick about it. You know,
right?
I mean?
Yeah, I get that. No, I get that.
You've been around the game a long time. That just sometimes happens because, come on, we've all seen sparring partners get knocked out. You want to respect your training partners, of course you do, but sometimes when you're throwing down and it's the perfect shot, punch, kick, whatever it is, sometimes shit happens.
Yeah, listen, at this stage, man, like not many people get a title shot. Not many people get opportunities to fight for a title. If you get an opportunity to fight for the title and you knock a couple partners out, man, that's collateral damage. Yeah. You know, it's you gotta pull out all the stops in order to try to make your dream come true because not many people get an opportunity to do it. And even if you do it, it doesn't last long. So when you have that opportunity, take full advantage of it. And if a couple people get knocked out in the process, then you can say sorry afterwards.
Yeah, exactly. And it feels good. It's good going into those fights, knowing you drop some people.
You want listen, you don't want to go into a fight, beat up, talk about, yeah, man, I got my ass kicked all camp. You want to go into a fight thinking, man, I do have the ability to hurt somebody.
Yeah, but it's funny though, because sometimes that does happen. I mean, I've had training camps. I talked about it. You probably saw it. I've had training camps where I did get my ass kicked, where things just weren't going well. You know what I mean? And I went out and had the best fight of my night or of my career up until that point. I've had the ones where I looked fantastic, and then come fight night, I can't put it together.
Yeah, sometimes it doesn't correlate. It doesn't.
Yeah.
And that's just MMA, really. That's just MMA. It doesn't make sense. MMA doesn't make sense because no matter what you do, when you're in that cage for 15 minutes, you just can't control it.
Yep, yeah, exactly. Well, Dean, thank you for your time today, brother. I see you're in the car. What's the plan for the rest of the day?
Oh, man, I'm just chilling, man. I'm just hanging out, getting ready to suit up so I can go down to the Kaseya Center on Saturday night. But, man, I appreciate you, Mike, man. I can't wait to catch up with you again soon.
My man, Dean. Take care, brother. Enjoy the weekend.
All right, y'all. Be cool, man. Peace.
Take it easy. There he is, the one and only Dean, Master of Cravat Thomas. We'll be right back. All right, today's episode is sponsored by Prize Picks, which is America's #1 fantasy sports app with over 3 million members, and they are the easiest and most exciting way to play DFS. It's just you against the numbers. You just pick more or less. You can up to 25x your money. This weekend, of course, with UFC 299. So Prize Picks, how does it work? Well, check this out. It's this easy. So you go to prizepicks.com/believe. You use the code BELIEVE for a first deposit match of up to $100. And then it's the fun stuff, okay? Sugar Sean O'Malley against Chito Vera. Will he land more or less than 112 significant strikes, okay? That one's not floating your boat. Jack Della Maddalena versus Gilbert Burns. Will that go more or less than 10 and a half minutes long, okay? And then Mateusz Gamrot taking on Rafael Dos Anjos. Will Gamrot get more or less than 4 takedowns in that fight? It really is that simple, and that's why it is the most fun, and it's why the #1 daily fantasy sports app in all of America, by the way. Prize Picks offers Apple Pay for quick and easy deposits into your account. So you got no excuse, okay? All you got to do is go to prizepicks.com/believe. Use the code BELIEVE for a deposit match of up to $100. Prizepicks.com/believe. Code is BELIEVE. All right, so big shout out to Dean Thomas there. And by the way, Masvidal, Jorge Masvidal, should I say, I have a bit of bloody respect. He'll be joining us in about 10 minutes. So we bring the boys on. Harrington and Brian, how are we today?
Doing better than Ryan Garcia.
You know what? My take on this is because I thought about doing a YouTube video on it the other day. I downloaded a few bits and bats and all the rest of it. And I didn't feel comfortable doing it because that Twitter Spaces that he did, is it called Twitter Spaces? Is that what they call it? Yeah.
Yeah.
That one that he did with Andrew Tate. I'm sorry. He is going through quite a severe mental breakdown right now. He really is. I think
he can't handle the loss.
What
I
loss?
think he lost to Gervonta Davis.
Yeah.
And I think his whole life's been spiraling ever since because he was an undefeated boxer. That was like the thing that he had, you know? Now he came
back and got a win, though. He got a win, but he's got the big fight with Devin Haney. Everyone's talking about him being high in cocaine. He's done some interviews where he was a little crazy and a little manic and all the rest of it. But this stuff saying that he was at Bohemian Grove or something, and then he was tied up, and then he was forced to watch kids being raped, right? It's just insane. And then Andrew Tate's like, what do you mean? Have you got proof? He's like, yeah, I filmed it on my phone. It's like, well, hold on, let's just break this down a minute. If they kidnapped you and they tied you up, how are you also able to film it on your phone? You know, if I'm cross-examining you, right, that would be the first area where I went to discredit you. Harrington, is your microphone working? Do you have a voice?
No, it is working. I also just find it funny that he also immediately came out and said, oh, by the way, yeah, I don't have access to my phone anymore. So you probably I couldn't find those, but I had them on my phone. Trust me.
Yeah. But he did that video as well the other day saying they stole all my stuff. They've taken my cards. I can't access my money and things like that. I haven't seen his tweets today, but I'm sure he's still wilding out, as they say.
This morning, it seems he's taking some medication or something because, sorry about the plane, but he said that he's only going to be tweeting about boxing from now on. He's not going to be tweeting about anything else.
He said that literally yesterday morning, and then did a whole thing about speaking in tongues yesterday.
Oh, so I guess I'm out of order.
and then of course Andrew Tate's like, "Oh, you're going down a very serious path here, brother. You got to be careful." And then Garcia's like, "I'll get you off." And he's like, "I don't think you can." He's like, "I can. I'm a god. I'm a god." Do you know what I mean? And I was just like, "Oh, the poor guy." And that's why I was like, "No, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing a YouTube video exploiting this guy's breakdown." You know, because it's sad. Sean Strickland came out and said this guy's got CTE and no amount of money is worth the brain damage that he's having.
Well,
Anthony have talked about this. Go on.
Strickland tweeted yesterday, he was like, if you put a kid in boxing at 7 years old, you are committing child abuse. And he was talking about Ryan Garcia boxing since 7.
No, for sure. I mean, listen, I kind of see his point, but I wouldn't go that far. I understand the point he's trying to make. But me and Anthony talk about this because everyone is straight away going, "Oh, CTE, even Strickland saying it, you know." You're accusing somebody of having brain damage. Okay, it's not a laughing matter. It's not a joke. I mean, Jesus Christ, the amount of times I misspeak on here and people are always like, "Oh, Bisping with the CTA, you got to go see a doctor." Like I just did that interview with Dean Thomas. You two know, I literally just woke up from a nap, right? Literally as I logged in, I'm like, "Oh shit, Dean's here. He's there straight away. Wake up." Right? We're not in a studio, right? I'm at home. I'm waiting for the caffeine to kick in. Do you know what I mean? And maybe I'm talking out my ass for the first 5 minutes. It's not brain damage. I just might be stupid.
Narcolepsy.
Brain damage.
That is fun. I mean, listen, have you ever seen this in your life personally? Like, known anyone who's like just lost it, kind of gone off the like schizophrenia deep end?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I've had a couple of people over the course of my life that I know where you're like, wow. In fact, there was one guy in the town where I grew up. He did acid. And he never came back from it. He would walk around the town. Clitheroe was only a small place. He would walk around the town years later, and he thought he was James Bond. He actually thought he was James Bond. He did, and then people were like, "Yeah, he did a acid trip and never came back off it."
Just wild delusions.
Another thing as well. Yeah, no, he was. He was out of his mind, bless him. And then because he was a bit of this guy, he was a bit of a bad boy, if you will. And then he finally kind of calmed down. But he was like, every time you saw him, he was like a ghost. You know, it was really sad to see. And of course, yeah, you know, I mean, people do have nervous breakdowns. And I think that's what's going on right now. I think you need some serious medical help.
So what always strikes me about it, whenever anyone's going through that, when you talk to them, they're so confident and so passionate about what they're saying that it's like, it's so hard to like break through that shell that he's with. And it's like, I don't know, dude, are you supposed to be able to restrain a grown man against his will if he's going through something like this? Plus, he's got a fight in 6 weeks against a killer like Devin Haney. The guy's got to be able to train. He can't go to rehab.
Yeah, Devin Haney's a bad man.
Yeah, no, he is. And that's a real issue as well. You know what I mean? Because I think if a responsible athletic commission, where's that fight happening? In New York?
Let me double check that.
I'll find out.
Yeah, but New York are very, very stringent. You know, getting cleared medically to fight in New York is not an easy thing. So, you know, he could be jeopardizing the fight there. I don't think the fight should go ahead, not unless he has a full evaluation. And I think any commission, certainly in the United States, is going to do that to him. You know, there might be other countries where he could scrape through and still be able to fight, but getting on like that, the way he's acting so publicly, the way it's being picked up by the media, the large social media following that it has in the first place, I mean, it's put a massive spotlight on it. It's literally a huge talking point in general right now.
Yeah, we're talking about it, right? And that fight's going to be in Brooklyn.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh dear. Before Masvidal jumps on, should we talk about Jake Paul? Should we have a little? I mean, what was your thoughts? I thought this was like, I couldn't believe it. I woke up this morning, I looked at my phone, I'm having my coffee. I thought, no, don't be. And I'm sorry, everyone, because I know we spoke about him recently, and we're not trying to do that, but it's just the shock and awe of it. To me, I couldn't believe it. So that's why I retweeted directly to him. I'm like, bro, you should be ashamed of yourself. You know, and everyone's like, oh, you're jealous. I'm like, it's got nothing to do with that. It's got nothing. How can you, as a grown man that's made plenty of money, that's in his prime, right, fight a 58-year-old man? who was walking around on a cane until quite recently and still try and spin it that he's going to make money. Sorry, that he's taking on tough challenges. I mean, it's the biggest joke. It's the biggest insult to boxing. It's the biggest disrespect to Mike Tyson ever, because listen, Mike's going to do it. He's an older guy. He's still got that dog in him. Still feels like he can, mix it up with the young bucks, make some money, gives him something to get excited about, get back in the gym. You know what I mean? But Jesus Christ, Jake Paul's got power though.
Do you think Tyson is going into this thinking that he's going to go knock Jake Paul out?
Well, let's be honest. It's going to have to be an exhibition bout, isn't it? There's no way.
I would hope so.
Yeah, but Evander Holyfield and Vitor Belfort, that was an exhibition match.
Yeah, that's true.
And Vitor just went out there and just flatlined him in the first round. Again, didn't play the game. If you're doing an exhibition match like that, you're supposed to have an exhibition.
It's maybe like Thunder Lips and Rocky.
Yeah, just have a little bit of sting on some of the shots, but have a move around, have a bit of a play around. You know what I mean? If Jake was to go out there and just try and swing off on him, I mean, who knows? Who knows? Maybe he gets knocked out because he does swing like this.
And what if Tyson comes in with a tight uppercut?
It'd just be incredible. It really would. What's up, Jorge? How we doing, buddy?
What's up, brother?
Good to talk to you, man.
How you doing?
Hey, you're looking good, bro. You're looking good. I saw some pictures online recently. Right? Were they photoshopped or what?
Man, that's some. That was at the Power Slap, and one of these influencers came up with his camera crews. I started thinking, I go, man, how did I look so fat in this shit? And one of these influencers came up to me, and his cameraman asked me a question like, so and so, and I was like, bro, yeah, whatever, I guess, And then they asked, they went a little deeper into the question. They go, hey, who's the king of Miami between you two? 'Cause I think the other guy's from Miami, and I was like, bro, listen, man. We're talking about violence. We're talking about fighting, things like that. There's no, I don't even know who the this guy is. What are you doing here, bro? And I think them motherfuckers went and, did the whole little car wash to the clip and made me look 300 pounds, But it's all good. It's better for me. Because then I don't even got to be skinny. I just got to look like regular. And people are like, holy smokes, you're in great shape, man.
Yeah, no, as soon as you logged in there, I'm like, oh shit, you look good. You look lean. You look healthy. You're looking slick. It looks like life's treating you well.
I'm not, contrary to the rumors, I'm not 265.
Yeah. What's going on with you and Chael Sonnen?
I mean, Chael's just, man, like I'm bored. I ain't got nothing to do now. I would love to whoop his ass, Plus, between me and you, we, something I always respected about you, we both have the same stance. And it's like, if you're doing steroids and shit, you're a coward, Because and he did a whole, I know now he finally came out and did, I did steroids. What's the big deal? I mean, it's like, you and your clan of juicers were doing steroids, but there's a lot of us that never put anything in our bodies because, my mentality of just how I grew up, like, I don't need to take nothing to beat you. And secondly, you're cheating when you're doing that. And it's giving you unfair advantages where you could hurt the other opponent, all types of shit. And just because of that, mainly, I'm like, this dude talking all that shit, he talks bad about my style when I've lost to certain wrestlers and this and that. Yeah, these juice monkeys might have beat me, but never in a real fight. And then he started going at Ariel, right? And Ariel's my boy. I kind of get along with Ariel. I'm like, why are you picking on the reporter guy? You want somebody to pick on? I'm right here, bro. I don't really like your ass too much, And then he's had like 20, 30-minute videos of me, numerous ones. I just do like a podcast and just, address him. Like if I was to see him right now, I'd slap the at him and be like, what's up? What the is the problem?
Oh, shit. What are you driving, Jorge? Looks like a nice ride.
Thank you, my brother. Right now I'm in the wagon, man. I got a little wagon, G-Wagon, Mercedes-Benz.
I was going to say the G-Wagon,
Yeah. I love it, man. I love it. It's one of my favorite cars. Safe, fast, and it looks fucking different. I love it. Yeah.
No, they're sick. So what's going on, Jorge? We keep hearing rumors that the return of Game Bread is upon us. What is happening?
Boys got some boxing matches. The UFC gave me permission to do some boxing matches. So 100% is going to happen this year. I'm going to get some boxing matches in with the gloves, not the bare knuckle stuff because I fucking wrecked my hands. So it's going to be fun, man. Straight boxing,
Ah, nice. So you're still under contract with the UFC, but they're allowing you to go off and do some boxing.
Yes, sir. Yes, still
Got
in a
it.
contract with the UFC. They're gonna let me do some boxing matches, and which I gotta give thanks to the UFC that they would even do that. You know, it's not often that they do that. We were able to come to a nice little term, you know, because I told them for MMA and stuff, and the amount of attrition that it puts your body through to get to the fight camp. You know, I start out good, but by the time I get there, you know, the back, the neck, it ain't the same. You know, boxing's kind of a little bit less wear and tear throughout the camp. A ton of wear and tear the fight the day of, right? Because it's, you know, only shots to the head, to the body. So take my hats off to those guys. They're putting it all on the line. But the camp, I don't feel it's as abusive on the body. Correct me if I'm wrong, right? They're not getting kicked in the legs and
100%.
having to run 4 miles and getting neck cranked, and now you got a kink on your neck and you're running like this, and you got to lift weights and you got to rush and you got to do jiu-jitsu. It's a different grind, and I'm not complaining. I loved it. It's my favorite fucking sport in the world. My favorite thing to do in the world is the MMA grind, but it does take more of a toll on your body than I think any other combat sport.
Yeah, without question. Getting ready for a mixed martial arts fight, it's day and night compared to boxing. Bit of road work, some pad work, bit of sparring, whatever. It doesn't even compare. So what are we talking?
And the concept bumping and contact, you know, from wrestling, you know, you shoot a double leg on me, I hit you in the head with my hip, and now you got like a nod, or I tweak your knee out right in the wrestling practice. Like, just wrestling is like 60% of my injuries would come from just wrestling hard, you know.
All wrestling, all of my serious injuries. I mean, my neck, my back, my hips, the cauliflower ears. I mean, where do we start? Do you know what I mean?
Ribs getting popped. I don't know. You know, for me, even taking guys down, sometimes I've hurt my ribs. You know, so MMA is a different grind, man.
So what are we talking? Are we talking some like proper boxing or some influencer stuff? If you know what I'm saying, if you know what I'm saying about the difference.
I definitely would like to get my hands on some influencers eventually, you know. But I want to start off with some real fighters, man. Some MMA guys, you know, and go into boxing, start getting my feet wet there, and then see how that goes. Give myself, like, I always give props to Ngannou, man. That first fight, you get the greatest heavyweight of the last 50 years,
dude.
Like that is the craziest shit ever, you know. I want to kind of get my feet wet, get a couple MMA guys that are boxing and things like that, and go from there, you know.
100%. I'm glad you mentioned that. Obviously, Ngannou this weekend going up against Anthony Joshua. So, well, in fact, tomorrow. I can't wait for that. I'm very excited, and I've got a feeling. I'm telling you, I've got a feeling Ngannou's going to go out there and maybe pull it off, maybe get the knockout, because there's a new confidence to him now. Imagine being a boxer, Ngannou, you go over to the boxing world. You don't know if you can take these shots. You don't know if you can hurt these guys, or given the size of him, go the distance. Now he knows he can. Now he knows he can hurt Tyson Fury. And did you see that little clip at the press conference yesterday where he was talking shit to Tyson?
Your only chance is in the ring, in the boxing ring with the boxing rules. When you step off of that ring, you better stay 5 meters away before I stuck your. Because if I lose it, you're gonna have a really bad time, my friend. So respect the fact that boxing is protecting you all, and the rules of boxing is protecting us. Because out of that, without that, you are nothing in front of me.
He's right.
I'm a huge Tyson fan. I love Tyson, what he stands for, his style and how he fights. He's one of my favorite boxers of the last fucking 10, 15, 20 years. But he has no chance against Ngannou in a real fight, man. Like, that puncher's chance goes out the window when you got somebody that could grapple and strike. You know, Ngannou would just take him down, fight's over, you know, or start just kicking him in the leg like he's never felt in his life. And I mean, we have, me and you got a lifetime of that conditioning. If you haven't been kicked to the leg like that and have been conditioned for it, it's only going to take about 1 to 2 and you're folding, you know?
No, 100%. So this weekend, your boy Dustin Poirier is back in action, Benoit Saint-Denis. Have you been around Dustin much for this one?
I wasn't. I've been in Vegas a lot, training at just in boxing camps and just getting in the boxing groove, and just, you know, getting myself around as many boxing camps as I can, and just to decide on what I'm going to do exactly and start getting after. So I didn't get to help Dustin out at all for this camp, and sure wish I could have. Shout out to Dustin, or my boy. He's helped me out in almost all of my fights, and vice versa. I've always tried to help him out in every fight that I've been around for. But I'm confident he's going to get the job done. I talk to Mike Brown almost every day, Johnny Eblen, all the guys from back home, and they say, man, Dustin's looking amazing. I mean, the picture's short. He looks in the best shape of his life right now.
Yeah. Do you know you should try and box?
Who?
Darren Till.
Oh, I would love to. The Till's an animal. So I would love. I would love the box there in England too. Let's go right back over there.
I mean, you guys have got some. You know, I mean, you got a stunning knockout unbelievable. So there's there's not a bit of history. There's a lot of history. Darren's still a big name. You know, a rematch in boxing that would sell big.
I would love to fight Darren Till, man. And I know he used to struggle a lot to get to 170. You know, so it'd kind of be better for him. We do it like at a higher weight class. He had more energy. Doesn't have to cut as much. And let's go to war, man. Let's do it in England, and we'll do it in Manchester City, man. That's where he's from, right?
No, he's from Liverpool.
Liverpool. We're going to Liverpool.
Just down the
man.
street. Oh.
Just down the street. We're going to Liverpool. It is, man. Let's go.
Let's go. Okay. Masvidal versus Till 2 in Liverpool. Come on. Hey, who doesn't want to see that? So what else have you been doing, Jorge? You've been getting into scraps with Chelson and online. You're getting ready for boxing.
That's so
you
far.
haven't
That's
been getting fat.
That in between, like, you know, freaking training myself and a promotion. Maybe I'll send a tweet to this idiot or something because I'm bored, and maybe he'll want to box. I'll give him the biggest bag he's ever gotten to stand across me and box. You know, maybe he wants to do that, and I could do something like, okay, I'll put it on paper. I can't use the right hand, Chael. Can't use the right hand. I just use the left hand. I just use the right hand for block. Every time I throw the right hand, it's like a $10,000, $20,000 fine or something. We could put that on paper because that guy's such a bum, you know.
What about the wrestling side of things, no, Jorge? He's going to wrestle you. You know he ain't going to stand.
You know, what's the good thing? No, but it's straight boxing, so you can't really, you know, you could try to clinch. Boxing clinch is different. The good thing about the boxing match for Chael is that there's no knees allowed, right? Because we all know that guy's a major crotch sniffer. The first thing we're doing MMA fight, the only guy to break Ben Askren's record with is probably Chael's face, because that guy's for sure going to the crotch, you know?
How long is it since you retired now, Jorge? It's not that long. What is it, like a year or so? 2 years?
In April, it'll be about a year.
Right. Jeez.
Yeah.
That flew by. Flew by.
Yeah.
What have you been doing?
By.
Just
promoting, my brother. Promoting. Putting the leagues on. We just had an event about just days ago. Junior Dos Santos fought Alan Belcher for our heavyweight title. First time in history that we had a title. And JDS won in spectacular fashion, knockout in the second round. We had Alex Nicholson versus Chase Sherman, which ended up in brutal fashion to a crazy knockout by Chase Sherman. The whole card was finishes, but one decision. It was amazing, great night, and that's where my heart and passion is, just promoting these events, promoting the next wave of guys that want to kill it, you know, and then training myself and keeping myself ready for when the fight happens. I don't know when the fight will be. I don't know if it'll be later towards the year. It'll be now, but I'm definitely going to cause some heat, but when this fight gets announced, you know.
And that's bare knuckle MMA, right?
My league, yes, bare knuckle MMA.
Yeah.
Canebred bare knuckle.
I've got to check it out. When's the next event? You got anything planned?
We're lining up the killers right now. We got a couple visas to deal with, this and that, and that's what's not letting determine us the next day. But we're either going end of April, early May will be our next show for a fact, you know.
Okay,
we did pretty good. You know, we streamed live on Kick, and that's our official streaming partner. So it'll always be live on Kick and for free. Free as can be for everybody. No paywall, no security card needed, nothing. And then after that, we put it in YouTube like a day later. We're already over like 400,000 views for the whole event, you know. So Amazing. We're doing good. We're moving a lot of traction, and want to keep bringing in the best possible free agents that I could get in, the meanest guys in the world to keep coming on for the promotion and fighting. And every fight that we have, it's like a ton of fighters reach out, you know, and they want to get in the promotion for two things. We're trying to pay well, and we're giving as much exposure to these guys as possible. And the word's getting out, you know. So we got a lot of guys that I never would have thought wanted to fight bare knuckle hitting me up talking about, hey, I gotta be in the next one. So the talent pool is getting only deeper and deeper every show, man.
Amazing. And good luck with that. I can't let you get out of here without asking you about UFC 299 this weekend. Miami. You are the king of Miami. What are we saying? Chito Vera, Sugar Sean O'Malley. Thoughts on that fight?
First of all, Sugar Sean is just straight talent, bro. Stud, can entertain. Very awkward guy to fight at 135. His length, the way he fights, the way in and out, you know. I give this guy so much props. But I'm riding with my boy Chito, man. I've known Chito since like his early UFC fights. I love this guy. I'm gonna be with their thick or thin, and I'm picking my boy. He did it once. I have a feeling he's gonna do it again. I think there's certain ranges he has to stay out of, so let's really say he doesn't have to touch, because Sean is very good, very gifted. Sniper, one shot he can end the fight. But Chito's just like tough dude, man, with a lot of fire inside him. Like, he's willing to go through hell to get that victory, as he's shown it many, many times. And if he does touch him, man, he could definitely hurt him, you know. So I feel like the first couple rounds might go to Sean, but as they start to go later and later into the deep waters, I think this guy will start breaking him down, my boy Chito, and then, hopefully he can pull off a finish again.
Last question. You must have saw the news this morning. Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson. Sorry to keep banging on about it, everybody watching the show, but it blew my mind this morning. I was like, come on, get out of here. What do you think about that?
I heard a lot of things. Is it a exhibition? Is it a fight? And if it is an exhibition, what are we getting in for? So it's very freaking interesting, crazy. Also, the first event on Netflix Live. So props to those guys for getting that done. Because that's like a major deal. That's going to be a new avenue now for combat. So props to both of them and whoever got that deal done. That's massive, right? It's great for the MMA community. So I not the MMA community, combat sports in general. I love it. I just hope that it's a fight, because I don't want to see like an exhibition match of two guys like hugging it out and like that. I don't want to see two guys going for it. I want to see Jake trying to put Tyson on. I want to see Tyson trying to put Jake out. And if it's not that, I'll be like a little bit like, oh man, this might have hurt.
But Jorge,
they go out there and that's everything,
bro. What would you say if a promoter came to you and said, I've got a 58-year-old opponent? What would your response be? You'd be like, bro, give me someone. Yes, he's a legend, but it's like you're not in the habit of going out and beating up old people.
But me and you are fighters, Mike.
There you go.
That other dude,
there you go.
That other dude ain't, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Me and you fight. I want mean guys, the meanest guys around my weight class, around my age, Obviously, if they're like 10 years older, but if it's like, Mike's Mike, man, he's been fighting since what, the 80s, you know what I'm saying? It's nuts, but one thing that doesn't go away is power. As a man, your power is like your last thing to leave you. So if Mike does touch him, it's game over. I think
it's game over. Could you imagine?
And Jake doesn't really know how to fight going backwards. So obviously, I'm cheering for Tyson because it's Tyson. But you never know, right? It's boxing.
Could you imagine? Tyson catches him, flatlines him. That's it. That's the end. That's the end of this little Jake Paul thing. It really is.
Oh yeah. But how about if Jake? How about if it's the other way? Then it's just a start. Then this motherfucker, it's going to be the craziest shit.
But that's beating up a pensioner. That's elderly abuse. You know what I mean? You can't go, come on. What's on the undercard? Conor McGregor versus the old man in the pub. Do you know what I mean? You can't do that. Jorge, you're the man. Great to talk to you, brother. Enjoy the event this weekend in Miami. I'll let you go. I'll talk to you soon.
God bless, my brother. You got to come to one of my events, man. When you get some free time, we got to bring you. We'll take care of you, brother.
Please. Hit me up. I'm there. Take it easy, Jorge.
God bless, man.
Harrington, jump on the show. I'm by myself. I'm all lonely. Yeah. You said recently that Masvidal was all fat.
So I was going off that picture. I fell for it like the rube that I am. So I'm sorry.
No, don't be silly. Don't be sorry. Because so did I. I was like, oh, God. Brian, maybe in post you can put in the picture that we're talking about because he did look gigantic, if you don't mind. All right, look, listen, the big fight tomorrow. It's a good week if you're a combat sports fan. I think there's a PFL event going on right now. I saw a couple of clips, some crazy knockouts, some dude with his hands down, ate a vicious head kick. Tomorrow, Joshua versus Ngannou. And then Saturday, UFC 299. So you've got a lot of content to watch this week, as well as the award-winning, we've never won an award, believe you me, podcast. Joshua.
That's not true.
Oh, we got awards?
Yeah, we got awards. Hold on.
Yeah, Adam Catchall.
I'm just destroying things, but we for sure have awards. This is my YouTube award.
Yes. Finally got one.
Just breaking things.
Adam Catchall and Nick Pete that are on the show sometimes, they are Fight Disciples, the boxing podcast. They're always winning bloody awards. They're always nominated for this, that, and the other. And every time I'm like, Jesus, come on. Dude, MMA awards.
I'll start scouring these tiny little websites and I'll start nominating us and you'll have hardware galore behind you. If that's the route you want me to take as the producer of your show, I'm down to do that.
You just get the notes together, Harrington, and just have your microphone working. I see today you're going old school. You're holding it in your hand. I've got the Segway of the Year trophy, okay? That's all I need. Adam Anthony Joshua, Francis Ngannou, I loved that clip. I had a full day of work yesterday. I didn't get in till almost 10 o'clock at night. I'm sitting in the back of the car. I'm driving back from LA. I had a driver. Sounds very posh and fancy. It wasn't. But I'm in the back of the car, so I'm looking at Twitter, and I see that clip that I was talking about before, where he's like, listen, I'll beat you every day of the week and twice on Sundays and all the rest of it. And then I saw Eddie Hearn saying apparently there was a big interaction before that where Tyson Fury went up, got it in his face. Yeah, he was speaking to Mike Bourne from MMA Junkie. Apparently Tyson went and kind of got in his face. He said, you think I'm scared of you? You think I'm a coward and stuff like that? Apparently went on for like 2-3 minutes. I'm amazed there's not footage of that circulating because every dickhead pulls the phone out these days. It's like, come on. Give the guys a bit of privacy. But what I see from Ngannou, I like the way he put Tyson Fury in his place. As Jorge said, listen, I'm a fan of Tyson Fury. I think he's very charismatic. He's an incredible boxer, right? Maybe he didn't apply himself. He says that he did against Ngannou, right? Call it whatever you will. But the way he shut him down and that confidence and that swagger that he has now, I think it's going to be a problem for Joshua. And even Eddie Hearn in that interview that I spoke about there, he was talking about it, how it's good for Anthony Joshua because Ngannou's distracted. He said there's been a couple of times this week where Tyson's caused his heart rate to go up, and now he's thinking about Tyson Fury and he's not thinking about Anthony Joshua. So the fact that they're looking that deep into it and thinking that that's a positive distraction for them shows that they understand the threat level that Francis Ngannou brings. I mean, how can you not, right? I mean, look at the size of the man. Look at what he did to Tyson. Look at the punch power that he has. What are your thoughts on this fight, Harrington?
I mean, it's nuts to me that, Anthony Joshua is one fight away from a title, from becoming a 3-time champion, possibly. And the only thing standing in his way is a guy who's an 0-1 professional boxer. And we're sitting here being like, I don't know, man. It's so close. It's so close. You know what I mean? Like, how crazy is that?
You think Anthony Joshua hits him harder than this? You remember when Tyson Fury hit him with this giant overhand elbow and he didn't even flinch?
Yeah. You know what? It's funny because Tyson Fury even spoke about that this week. He said, listen, I hit Ngannou with some solid punches. And he said, the cheeky bastard, he said, I even hit him with an elbow and he didn't flinch. You know what I mean? So fair play to Tyson for that, laughing at himself. I'm going to call it right now. I think we have a big upset on our hands. I think Francis Ngannou was going to go out there and beat him. Look at the facts. It was his first ever boxing fight. His first ever fight, going up against one of the best boxers of his generation in Anthony Joshua, a man that won the Olympics, a man with an extensive amateur career, a man that has had one of the best professional careers, as I say, of his generation. There's no way that Ngannou isn't an improved version. It's now his second fight. Okay, you learn and you get better as you progress. I don't want to repeat the points I've made in the past, but he will have had all those questions answered. Can he hurt him? Can he go the distance? Can he take those kind of shots? But the answer to all of them is yes. And now he's coming into this one. He's clapping back at Tyson Fury. He's talking a little bit of shit. He's got the swagger. I think Anthony Joshua is going to hit the canvas on Saturday night, Friday. I really do.
Yeah, I don't think you're wrong about that at all, right? Like, this is, he seemed kind of a stranger in a strange land when he went out to fight, Tyson Fury. Nobody knew how he was going to look in a boxing ring. He 100% looks like he belongs in it. You saw that shuffle after he knocked down Tyson Fury. Oh, yeah. I don't know, man. It is tough because he does feel very confident, very together. Joshua is 100% taking this seriously, and I still think he's able to land those power punches.
Yeah, look, listen, I'm not disrespecting Anthony Joshua, right? He's an incredible guy. He's the better boxer technically, right? He probably can hit just as hard, let's be honest. He's probably not far off. You're splitting hairs for sure. Anthony Joshua can definitely crack. He's got the experience and all that. I just believe in this madness that it's going to happen, right? I mean, and what a story this is going to be, because if Ngannou does this, he's going to have a close one with Tyson Fury. He's going to beat Joshua in his second fight. Then he's going to fight either Tyson Fury and Usyk in his third fight. And if he wins that, then that's it. The competition's over. He is the best heavyweight boxer of this generation in 3 fights. In 3 fights, he's beating all the top guys. I mean, that would be insane. He's yet to fight and beat Joshua or Fury or Usyk. But just as a romantic, do you know what I mean? What a story. We're having fucking Hollywood movies made about this guy for sure.
So I did want to ask you about that. Heading into this second fight, do you think there's a way that boxing, being the way boxing is, lets Francis Ngannou win this fight if it goes to the judges' scorecards?
Well, you're leaning into the crooked boxing system there.
I'm not necessarily leaning into crooked. I think that Francis Ngannou did enough. Watching it as an MMA fan who judges fights based on damage and whatever, I thought Francis Ngannou did enough to beat Tyson Fury. But under the strict rules of boxing, I guess if Tyson Fury ran away and threw his jab for the last 2 rounds, you could see how he could squeak out a split decision. I'm saying, like, do you think they're going to just naturally favor Joshua and find any reason they can to give it to him?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. That comes down to the judges, and that's a personal question for them. I did think that when that fight first happened, that Tyson Fury won the fight, okay? And I was rooting for Ngannou, but I think when you add up the numbers for every score, every round, Fury had more rounds. I think he did. I'd have to watch it again. I couldn't remember exactly, but I do remember that was my thought at the time. I mean, and who knows? You never know what's going to happen. But yeah, I just think that given the fact, the way Joshua said as well to Fury, this was a classic line. He said, I wiped the ring with your ass. I wiped the ring with your ass, because he made him slide across the canvas. And then he did the little dance and stuff. He's going to come into this one way more confident. He's got to be careful that he paces himself, though. This is 12 rounds. It's not 10 rounds, so there's a difference there. And if he comes in and he's swinging with more confidence and he's less conservative with his energy, because he has, confidence can be great, but it can also make you not pace yourself. Just like Dean Thomas said about the 3 rounds to the 5 rounds for Benoit Saint-Denis and Dustin Poirier. That's a great point. And when I was joking, when I said Poirier is a sly old dog, but that is an interesting fact that I didn't know, that he requested it over 5 rounds, because that kind of tips the balance in his favor. That's a veteran move right there. So Joshua, he's got the experience in going those kind of rounds with big fights, with big pressure. I don't know. It's based on a hunch. I mean, all signs say if you're a smart man, you pick Anthony Joshua. But I just think Ngannou might just do it.
So, yeah, there's a thing about Ngannou, and it just led me to think, like, the fact that he doesn't want him to go to the judges. I feel like with Tyson Fury, he heard him and didn't necessarily pounce right there. He's like, I've done enough.
Well, it's not mixed martial arts, bro. You can't dive on the guy.
I understand that, but he wasn't rushing his punches. He wasn't immediately trying to set up combos to land that crushing blow, when he had Tyson Fury on the proverbial ropes as well as the actual ones. I think with Joshua, if he hurts him, he's looking for the kill immediately. He's not letting Joshua off the hook.
It's a brilliant fight, by the way. And if you see this before tomorrow, before the fight happens, I'm doing a live stream on my YouTube channel. So make sure you tune in. What is your official pick? I'm not asking you.
What? You're not
Don't
asking
think I'm
me?
not asking you. No, I said, don't think I'm not asking.
I'm going to take Francis Ngannou by 7th round knockout.
Brian McKay, B McKay's right on Twitter and Instagram.
Thanks. I'm going to be slightly less specific than Harrington, but I do think that Francis is going to take it. He has some weird confidence mojo in the presser. I think Joshua doesn't even look that confident in these pressers either.
I'm just trying to find the Wikipedia page for the event, because we've got Joseph Parker versus Zheli Zhang as the co-main event as well. Or they don't even call it a co-main event in boxing, but it's a good fight card. It's great. And that's that. Today's episode is sponsored by Shopify, which is revolutionizing the online marketplace, because in the past, having a website, having an e-commerce functionality on that website was time consuming. It was complicated. It was expensive. Well, that's all a thing of the past, because now with Shopify, listen, you can sign up for $1 per month at shopify.com/believe. Okay. $1 a month to give it a try. Instantly, you'll be able to accept every major payment method. It will cover every sales channel. You can sell on all the social media forms like TikTok, Facebook, Instagram. It's packed with all the tools you need to ignite your growth. It gives you complete control over your business and your brand without having to learn any new skills in design or code. And by the way, there's a 24/7 customer service hotline available and an extensive business course library. So Shopify is there to support you every single step of the way. It's time to get serious about your business. It's time to get online. It's time to ramp up the sales. It's time to get rich, baby. And that is the opportunity brought to you by Shopify. All jokes and silliness aside, if you have a business, if you're thinking about launching one, Shopify is what you need to use to get online in the fastest, the quickest, the easiest, and the cheapest way. As I say, sign up for $1 per month, a trial period at shopify.com/believe, all lowercase. One more time, $1 per month trial period, shopify.com/believe. Anyway, Harrington, non-MMA, non-combat, what is going on in the world?
Probably the biggest news yesterday. There was a sentencing for involuntary manslaughter from somebody on the Rust set. It was not Alec Baldwin. It was the armorer for the shoot, Hannah Gutierrez Reed. As I said, she was charged with involuntary manslaughter in the death of the cinematographer on the film.
Yeah, and that's probably correct, right? Involuntary manslaughter. The armorer is responsible. And last time we spoke about this, Brian got a little amped up. If you recall, he was like, "You're wrong, Michael. You can't point a gun at somebody and pull the trigger without paying the penalty." It's like, bro.
I do stand by that.
Well, it's on a movie set.
I understand
people
that.
point guns at people all the time, right? On
Understood.
a movie set. It's not supposed to be a real gun, or if it is, it's not supposed to have a real bullet inside it. And when you pull it and a bullet comes out, and sadly somebody lost their life, so it's not a laughing matter. But what I'm saying is that's not supposed to happen.
Of course it's not supposed to happen.
It's supposed to ensure that doesn't.
Alec Baldwin wasn't supposed to have the gun in his hand if they weren't shooting. That's like SAG rules. Like, the armor has to take the weapons and put them away and use dummy weapons on the rehearsal shoots. And, you know, they have all these prop things that they're supposed to be using, and you only use the actual, like, because there's no fake guns. They just use not live ammunition, right? But so they use
there's replicas.
Yeah, but they, you know, they don't really anyway. You're not supposed to have that gun. You're not supposed to be pointing it at people. The armorer is supposed to hand you the gun and go clear and show it to you.
Yeah,
and,
I know.
And because that didn't happen, but you can't take the responsibility off the person who actually pulled the trigger. Because
yes, you can.
I disagree.
Yeah, no, I know. And we did this last time, so there's nothing going around in circles, you know what I mean? There's nothing personal here.
Yeah.
If I'm on set and an armorer comes up to me and goes, because you're right, that's exactly the process. What happens, they come over, they make a big song and dance about it because it's not a laughing matter. It's not a joke. And I think last time we got into the whole story with Cyril Garn when I did that movie with him last year. And he's going, pa, 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 pa.
Right.
God, it's hilarious, man. And, you know, if they look, they say, look, it's empty. Here you go. There's the gun. It's got blanks in it. And you pull the trigger and a real bullet comes out. I'm telling you what, I am protesting hard. I'm like, you just said it was fine. I pulled the trigger and somebody's dead. That's not my fault. That falls on the armorer. Now.
I have very limited experience on sets, but I was in a scene where somebody had a gun to my head in the scene. And the armorer came over and had me personally check the gun, and the other actor that was checking the gun, that was holding the gun. We both personally checked the gun, looked at the ammunition, saw that it was marked. Like, there was a whole thing before it was handed to anybody. So, like, that's what I'm saying. That's on me. You know what I mean? Like, it's on me.
No, it's not. If your brains got blown out,
it's on me too.
Bro,
You can't put yourself in a situation to be shot in the face without taking a little bit of responsibility.
Yes, you can, because you're on a fucking movie set, right? You're not signing up to die. This is make-believe, okay? Sometimes they use words which are very controversial these days. That's just the actor. Sometimes a guy, brother, I might talk like this. I'm not Polish, okay? Right? In fact, I am Polish, but all my foreign.
It's like you've been lying to us.
You haven't been lying to you. I'm Polish count. I'm royalty up in this bitch. But by all accounts, though, what there was, and this is where Alec Baldwin still got some trouble, is because apparently the production schedule was ridiculous. They were overworked, and things weren't being monitored quite as closely. But that isn't the biggest story, Harrington. We did touch on that. We did say we were going to mention that, but we didn't want to get into that. Oh, Hollywood Bisping going off with his experiences on set. No. What is the biggest story? I don't know. Tell us about this California Highway Police arrested officer. This is ridiculous.
Dude, this is absolutely insane. So some firefighters pulled up to a scene of an accident that was on the highway. When the fire truck, parked, apparently he was like over the center line divider to the other side of the highway while attending to the patient on the ground here. And the police were not having it and decided to arrest someone while he was trying to save another man's life.
This is insane. Look at this.
Chula Vista firefighter Jacob Gregoire calls for his supervisor. Only CBS News 8 has this heated exchange between the veteran firefighter and an unnamed CHP officer about the safety of where the fire truck is parked during a rollover accident. CHP has guidelines to safely clear the road, but you see, it's up for debate who was in the wrong legally. Firefighters say they park at an angle to protect emergency crews, patients, and drivers.
We're in the middle of patient care with patients.
This is just ridiculous. It really is. So we get the idea. So there's been a nasty accident. The fireman is in the process of trying to save somebody's life. They've parked on an angle so that it's very clearly evident to drivers coming on. Right. So the police have seen and said, listen, it looks like you might be like a couple of millimeters over a line or a little too obtrusive for whatever. This is a high adrenaline situation. They're trying to save somebody's life. I understand that rules and protocols are put in place for a reason and they need to be respected. But that police officer there is an absolute moron. What on earth are you doing? He arrests him whilst he's trying to save somebody's life. The man's doing a service to the public. Okay. He's not out there doing this by choice. He's trying to help somebody. Do we know any details of what happened after that? Because I would assume that police officer, yes, whilst technically might have been within his powers to do so, I wouldn't imagine that he's getting promoted anytime soon.
No charges filed against the firefighter. That's the update that I have at the moment on that.
Yeah, they put him in the back of the car, but eventually cut him loose. I think cooler heads prevailed.
This is like a wild overreach and abuse of power, and it's like a huge. That's the main problem with law enforcement these days. Is just people are bullies when they put on a badge, and they just think you have to do what they say.
Well, you're right, but the problem is that being a police officer, certainly in this country as well, is a very, very tough job. Because a lot of people have guns, so they're on a heightened sense of alert, right? Because a lot of people have firearms on them. But in this situation, that doesn't apply whatsoever. And you're right, it's like a little Napoleon syndrome. You know what I mean? He's got the power to do it, so he's gonna do it. They're trying to help somebody out. And this doesn't help the reputation of the police when things like this happen. I mean, that cop that did that should be absolutely, utterly ashamed of himself, more than Jake Paul.
I mean, that's...
No, this is worse than Jake Paul. It is. But a fireman's job as well.
Yeah.
I mean, sure, but it's like, I don't know, man. If you're trying to stop maybe another accident from happening across the way, you could make an argument that the cop might be trying to do the right thing. Jake Paul, not doing the right thing at all. He's hurting an old man.
There's a lot of flashing lights. There's a fire truck. There's multiple police cars. You've got sirens. The news reporters on the scene, okay? There's lights all over the place. Don't tell me people are oblivious going 90 on the freeway and just flying down there. It's like, oh, shit, I almost hit a fire truck, Cletus. You know what I mean? That's not happening. This is a made-up scenario. This is a complete overreach of power, and that cop needs to go and give his head a wobble.
Yeah, whatever happened to protect and serve, dude? That's what cops are supposed to be doing. You are not supposed to be a hall monitor for everybody else's life. Like, that's absolutely insane. The guy's trying to save a guy's life. There's a neck brace on him. Let him do his job.
You know, but I tell you what, cops out here compared to the UK are different. We might have spoke about this before. You know, out here, cops generally, I mean, I respect all law enforcement. You know what I mean? They're doing a tough job and they're supposed to be protecting and serving. They're not always doing that. Some of them are dicks, but it's just like humans in general. Some are cool, some are dicks, some are idiots, some are foolish. But compared to the cops in small town England, do you know what I mean? The cops out here don't mess around. The cops in England, you could have a field day with. You could just fuck with them because they haven't got a weapon. They're just kids. They're fresh out of college. They've got the stupid hat on and a truncheon at the most. And we would have a good laugh with them. My dad was an asshole with the cops. He really was. So I'm sorry to all police officers in England. If you ever came across my dad, you earned your day's work that day. But the cops out here, they're definitely a bit more badass.
Yeah, it's like, well, that actually makes me think, like, because in America, if you reach for a cop's gun, like, that's they have a word for that. Like, you have a death wish. You know what I mean? In England, though, like, could you grab like the little billy club off their belt and try to mess with them?
Harrington, give it the respect that it deserves. You don't mess with another police officer's truncheon.
Yeah,
and
dude.
by the way,
don't make fun of their little sticks.
I've got one of those sticks.
I do as well.
Talk amongst yourselves. I'll show it to you.
Yeah, but just roast the cop. Although you do see some crazy shit. I watched a video today on Twitter where there's like this little dumpy cop just tackled a dude and accused him of throwing a knife over a fence 2 blocks away. And I was just like, this is America level policing.
What's his brand? What did I miss?
Oh, I just saw a video earlier today of like a little fat cop. Oh, that's cool. It's like
this is because Rebecca
ceremonial
antiques. So we collect antiques in this house. We've been doing a lot of that recently. I bought this in New York after I fought Alan Belcher in New Jersey. We stuck around New York for a few days. This is a police truncheon from one of King Henry's guards from, I don't know how old it is. You can't really see, but yeah, very, very cool. And you crack someone around the head with that.
I was about to ask, you still think you'd crack somebody's head with that thing?
Oh, 100%. I wouldn't want to mess up the paint job. But
it might be a little dry.
It's a little dry. It's very, very heavy, though. It's very heavy. Next time you're being a dick, Harrington, I'm going to pull out the truncheon. And by the way, you never try and grab a cop's truncheon. That's sexual assault, okay? You leave his truncheon out of it. Anyway, let's talk about something proper, which is UFC 299. Chito Vera. Aljamain Sterling. Sugar Sean O'Malley. It's the CTE. It's kicking in again.
Shouldn't make jokes like that, Mike.
You know, last night, Aljamain Sterling did call me actually a few times. I'm not going to get into it, but because I spoke about, because he said that Cheeto had a bad camp. So I did a little video on it and we spoke about it on here. And he was like, Aljamain's such a stand-up guy. He was like, dude, I wasn't trying to talk shit. I was like, no, bro, don't be silly. Don't be silly. It was not taken that way at all. So shout out to Aljamain. Both guys are very confident coming into this one. You must have saw that clip yesterday. O'Malley's like, you ready to get knocked out? Of course. Last time out, he did knock out Aljamain Sterling with one of the best right hands. He's brimming with confidence. He has had a lot of TKOs. He went to a decision against Piotr Jan. But prior to that, Chris Martino and Thomas Almeida and people like that, he was finishing in the later rounds of the fight. My prediction, I think O'Malley's going to get off to a good start, right? He did in the first fight. He's got better since then. He's tall, he's long, he's quick, he's got beautiful boxing, he's got good footwork. Cheeto's traditionally a slow starter, as we know. Perillo told me that's been a big, big emphasis of the camp. He can't let him get ahead on the scorecards too much too soon. I think he's going to eventually, though, find the rhythm, find the range, start having success, and it wouldn't surprise me if O'Malley gets knocked out himself. It's a fantastic fight, though, because we can slice it two ways. If you're watching this, you probably go, well, you're just Cheeto's boy. You're friends with him. You got the same coach. Yeah, granted. And I'm a big fan of Sugar Sean O'Malley as well. And he comes on the show. He's a friend of the show, so I don't want to talk shit. There's no shit being spoke. I genuinely believe, though, in the later rounds when Cheeto gets going, he gets more and more dangerous. And with this being a 5-round fight, he's got more opportunity to find the mark.
Yeah, I mean, I remember back in 2019, 2020, you were calling it, you were one of the first ones on the scene. Cheeto Vera is title material, right? And now it's material as that title shot is there. So it would be crazy for you to change, to switch up on him and change your pick now. It's just Sean happens to be the guy who's in that spot that whoever, when Cheeto got to this point, I think was going to take the title from. 30 fights, I think it is, in the UFC. Never been knocked down. Never been knocked out.
Never been knocked down.
Never been knocked down.
Yeah.
Never been finished.
Did we talk about this with Anthony? Because I don't want to repeat the show, but he never has a mark on his face. When he fought Rob Font's a great striker. You can make some similarities to Sugar Sean O'Malley. Maybe not quite as busy as Sean, but he uses that jab, fast hands. In fact, shit, that's a really good comparison. Oh, I'm dropping that one in a YouTube video later. Come on, baby boy. Let's go. Shout out Luis J. Gomez. How tall is Sugar Sean O'Malley? Sugar Sean O'Malley is 5'11". How tall is Rob Font? Probably, I'm going to lie, say 5'11". There's similarities. This fight could go down the same way. How tall is Rob Font? Don't say 5'9".
No, it's 5'10" and a half.
Says Rob Font is 5'8".
Yeah, sure.
Does it really?
Yeah,
you
trying to
lie
for you.
to all of us, Harrington, you little prick.
Mike, my job is to make you look good. I'm sorry.
Well, do better because you're not doing a very good job so far. Brian, what do you think? I don't think we're going to see too much grappling in this one. I think if somebody gets knocked down, they'll follow them down, of course, just like in the first fight. And, I saw a good point the other day. Who was it? Oh, my God. It was Dean Thomas. And this is a tremendous point that he made. And I'm stealing it and using it as my own. Cheeto kicked the leg. The calf went numb, whatever you want to call it, the peroneal nerve. He hits the canvas. Cheeto followed him up and was in his guard. He was in his guard, okay? So the leg at that point didn't really matter. It was a weak guard and a weak defensive guard from Sean O'Malley that allowed Cheeto to land that vicious elbow. Because, I'm going to get on my high horse here. When you're on your back, there's a way that you use your forearms to defend and block, for ground and pound. Right. And it's kind of simple. I say simple. I've done it for so long. And we used to do so much ground and pound in the gym where I used to train that you kind of developed a system. But if you're on your back and the person's on top, if you kind of put your hands on their shoulders like here, and then you just follow their arms around, wherever their arms go, you follow it with your forearms. It's hard for them then to get any momentum to throw a shot because your forearms are constantly blocking them. You know what I'm saying? And then while you're doing that, you're using your legs to do something different. That's why you got to be smart. Your brain's telling your legs to do one thing. Your arms are throwing a few shapes on the dance floor. Then you flip into a little arm bar. You're getting back to your feet. You're standing up. You're throwing flying knees. It's a beautiful sport. I miss it, man. I want to be doing this again. I want to be doing this. Let's go. What do you think?
This is a fight I'm definitely not putting any money on. It could go either way to me. It's either Sean's going to catch him in the first 2 rounds maybe, or Cheeto's just going to work him the whole 5. I think that's how it's going to go. But it's, once again, both friends of the show. I'm not betting on this one.
Harrington, what did you say?
I think Cheeto is inevitable, right?
That's fair.
Cheeto's going to come at him similar to, and I don't want to put this on Cheeto because obviously his defense is significantly better, but he's got the heart of a guy like Chris Matinho, right? Who was still walking down O'Malley for that entire fight, and it took O'Malley quite some time to get him out of there. If you give Cheeto those kind of openings he was giving Chris Matinho, Cheeto's going to hit you to the body. He's going to hurt you. He's going to touch up your legs, so your movement's going to get cut down. He's going to be better at cutting angles. I think that, Like, that's somebody who it was not at the same skill level of Sean O'Malley and was able to get pretty far into a third round with him. Cheeto is that elite level and can just follow him and chase him. I don't see how Sean survives 5 rounds against Cheeto.
This is my new threatening behavior when you say something silly. Okay?
Oh, what did I say silly?
Don't you ever dare, and this is no disrespect to Chris Matinho. You can't compare Chris Matinho and Cheeto Vera. Say, if Chris Matinho can do that, so can Sean O'Malley. Well, of course. Listen, Chris Matinho was great. He stepped up short notice, almost took him to the distance, the decision. But you're putting them in the same cart. Don't do that. I'm just enjoying swinging this club around, okay?
I feel like he's just scolding you for no reason.
I am. Don't get so offended. I'm just like, I kind of like doing this.
I was kind of proud of that.
Cheeto Vera. I tell you what, there's a lot of Ecuadorian support. If I was to say Ecuador, do you know what that would be a reference to?
No.
Okay, never mind. It was a dance track in the 90s by Sash called Ecuador. Ecuador! We used to shout it on the dance floor when we were kids, but I was drunk back then. Don't drink these days, as you know. I got Cheeto in that one, of course. Go on. I was going to move on.
I'm sorry.
You did it.
I had a fun fact for you for the reporter thing you were saying. I think it's 120 media people are credentialed for UFC 299, and 30 of them are from the country of Ecuador. So literally 25% of all media reporters, everything is there for Cheeto. I think come media day and weigh-ins, that place is going to be a madhouse for Cheeto.
Yeah, well, I think the press conference should be going down today. So that'll be good. Probably happening in a couple of hours. So best of luck to both men. Benoit Saint-Denis, 5 rounds against Dustin Poirier. Smart veteran move from Dustin Poirier. I think Benoit Saint-Denis does it. I really do. And by the way, that's not me disrespecting or underestimating Dustin Poirier, right? Dustin Poirier is incredible. He really is. He's 35 years old, right? We know about the 35-year-old curse. Benoit Saint-Denis is 28. He's younger. He's on a 5-fight win streak. Yes, granted, he has not fought anything near the competition than Dustin Poirier has. And Dustin asking for this at 5 rounds shows that he's still thinking championship. He thinks a good win over this, one more win, and he fights for the title. So I don't think he's running out of fuel or motivation or anything like that. It's a phenomenal fight. Okay, maybe I'm second guessing it. I'll tell you what, though, it wouldn't surprise me if Benoit Saint-Denis pulls it off. But it also wouldn't surprise me if Dustin Poirier goes out there and puts on an absolute masterclass and shows the world and reminds everybody that he's still championship material. And don't you dare forget about me in this division.
So I've been waiting to tell this story for months now. When you and I were at MSG, we were, I think, 3 seats down from Dustin Poirier. I watched him like a hawk when Benoit Saint-Denis came out. Man did not take his eyes off of him. Like, he knew heading into this fight, there was a decent chance he was up next. Dustin Poirier was sizing him up the entire time. He really thought long and hard about taking this fight with these stakes, making it a 5-rounder. Dude, Benoit Saint-Denis is coming into Dustin Poirier's world. Like, I believe that 100%. This is too much too soon for Benoit Saint-Denis. And I do think Dustin Poirier is going to be his reckoning.
I understand the points that you're making. I also do concur. You were staring at Dustin Poirier.
Oh, yeah.
It got kind of weird. Brian, I was embarrassed. I'm like, can you stop?
He often embarrasses people in public.
I was like, stop it, bro. Stop just... That's Dustin Poirier.
Stop grilling my coworkers.
I was like, lift your jaw. You're drooling all over the place. Stop it. Yeah, look, listen. I mean, you can never underestimate Dustin Poirier. He's got beautiful hands. He's got great skills all around. So has Saint-Denis. I mean, that knockout over Matt Favola, he got taken down quite quickly, used the underhook to get back to his feet. And the moment he got up, boom, left high kick.
You think if Dustin gets him down like that, he gets up as not easy like as that. He did?
Not like he did against Favola. No way. Poirier's a better version than Matt Favola. That's no disrespect to the steamroller. It's just a good fight. It's just such a good fight. You could dissect it many different ways. The reality is none of us fucking know. None of us know.
It's a coin
But this
flip.
is one of those where it's a massive game-changing opportunity for Benoit Saint-Denis. Fresh blood, new blood. And then for Dustin Poirier, this is like, see, told you, bitches. I ain't going nowhere. We all get caught. Justin Gage, caught me with a head kick. Remember, I beat him earlier. I beat him a few years ago in a sensational fight. But when you look at some of the fights that Dustin had, let's have a look right here. I'm not talking about one fight. I'm talking about the fight against Michael Chandler. Michael Chandler's brilliant. I'm not going to sit here and talk shit about Michael Chandler. But Michael Chandler isn't the type of guy that's going to come out and necessarily have the best game plan. Because the Michael Chandler can wrestle like a maniac and you never see it. He just went at Dustin Poirier like a psycho. Just throwing right hands one after the other. I was like, oh shit, he's going to knock him out. Didn't even think about wrestling. What a sick fight that was. I think Saint-Denis is going to be a bit more strategic. I think he might mix things up. He's certainly going to have a game plan, but so is Dustin Poirier, and it's going to be sick.
Yeah, I'm
and that's it. And that's the expert analysis. It's going to be sick. Before that, what do we have? Michael Venom Page versus Kevin Holland. Michael Venom Page is a knockout artist of the highest degree. He has true one-shot knockout power, right? And that's the difference between these guys. Kevin Holland's great. He's so entertaining, and I love what he brings to the table. He's a funny guy. I saw Ben and Page saying that they might have the first podcast mid-fight because they're going to be talking to each other like crazy, which was hilarious. But if you look, of course, we spoke about it. He has had some losses, of course. Lost to Logan Story, lost to Douglas Lima, beat Douglas Lima in a rematch. Derek Anderson, one shot, right? Ross Shinsho Anzai, one shot. Giovanni Melillo, one shot. All the stoppages that he has, most of them, it's one shot power. Okay. And he's so fast and so precise. I think Kevin Holland's a better grappler, probably. But will Kevin Holland grapple? Will he look to take him down? I think he might do. I think he will.
I feel like he learned from the Wonder Boy fight, right? Like that fight, he easily could have walked away from there with a win and a pretty high spot in the rankings with a win over Stephen Thompson. Chose not to wrestle, stood back up and tried striking with him, much to his detriment. I feel like he's learned and is not gonna, he's not gonna let that happen again.
Yeah, but hold on. Kevin Holland did, in fact, go for takedowns as the fight progressed, didn't he? If I'm not mistaken.
Against Stephen Thompson?
Yeah.
No.
I think he got one at the end.
He tried. To be fair, he broke his hand. You know what I mean? So he couldn't exactly punch, But we all love Kevin Holland. He had a tough one, a close one against Jack Della Maddalena. Again, Maddalena is ridiculous as well, so no shame there. I'm from the UK. I'm going to lean towards MVP, right? I'm a fan of Kevin Holland as well. I don't have any definitive picks, really. It's like this fight card, these fights are so competitive. It's not like I can look at one and just go, yeah, that guy's going to win for sure. Gilbert Burns and Maddalena, the grappling is the path to victory there, right? We'll see if Maddalena has improved his takedown defense, because if he hasn't, he's going to get out grappled and he's going to lose that. On the feet, Maddalena's better, but Gilbert Burns is still effective, right? So that's a close one. Kevin Holland, Michael Page is a close one. Petr Yan, Song Yadong. I mean, that's a close one as well.
I mean, literally, my first instinct looking at this card is I like every single underdog, right? I like Yan.
Who are the underdogs?
Yan, Burns, MVP, Poirier, and Cheeto.
Yan, Petr Yan, Burns, MVP, Poirier, Cheeto. Okay. Are you putting a parlay on?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's gonna be it's like $10 to win like $850. Why not?
Today's episode is brought to you by 8 Sleep, which is the solution to all of your sleeping issues. 8 Sleep's pod cover slips right over the mattress, bringing heating and cooling technology that will keep you comfortable and go into a deeper sleep. You're going to wake up feeling as fresh as a daisy, okay? The 8 Sleep pod, right, it just goes on like a mattress cover, as I said, and then you can adjust your bed to be the perfect temperature at night. Okay. So no more arguing with the missus. No more waking up in the middle of the night, freezing cold or sweating like crazy. Okay. You're going to drift off to sleep perfectly because you can automatically adjust your bed's temperature. You can go as low as 55 degrees and you can go as hot as 110 degrees. And by the way, you can split the temperatures. Your wife can have it hot. You can have it cool because you ain't no fool. Okay. Nobody wants their bed 110 degrees, but my wife would. And if you are a psycho, you can also do that. Sleep science has shown that in order to sleep your best, the body temperature needs to drop in the early and the middle part of sleep and then rise in the morning. Of course, it can be programmed to do all of those things. It keeps you at the perfect temperature all night. It also tracks your sleep and your health metrics. And they have seen that on average, sleep quality improves by 32% with just a month using the pod. So there's no better way to start your day than a good night's sleep. And that is being offered right now with the 8 Sleeps Pod 3. Start the new year right and invest in the rest that you deserve with the 8 Sleep Pod cover. Go to 8sleep.com/Bisping to get $200 off and free shipping. 8sleep.com/Bisping. $200 off this remarkable piece of technology that will revolutionize the way you sleep and the way you feel going forward. 8sleep.com/Bisping for $200 off and free shipping. Also on the prelims, Curtis Blaze, Yalton Almeida. Winner of that probably gets Tom Aspinall next. So that'll be good.
Tom called for that himself. So yeah, let's see it.
Mateusz Gamrot, Rafael Dos Anjos. Unbelievable that Dos Anjos is still going, right? And taking on Mateusz Gamrot, a guy that's one of the top lightweights right now. You know, shout out Rafael Dos Anjos. He's a serious bastard, man. Yeah, all right, he's getting on, getting older. How much longer are we going to have him a part of the UFC? But that guy is a serious individual, highly skilled, all well-rounded, but he's just nasty and he's intense.
Yeah, and it's like I unless Gamrot's really trying to bring in this Usman or Colby style to wrestle RDA, I think RDA can win this fight. I think there is a real path to victory for RDA to win this fight. So
Pedro Munoz. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there. Okay. Pedro Munoz way down early on the prelims as well against Kyler Phillips, Iwan Kutalaba, Philip Lins. Good night of fights, and also got to give a special shout out the first fight of the night, Joanne Wood. Formerly Joanne Calderwood. She's a right sweetheart, so she is. But you know what, Harrington? I think this is going to be her last fight. She talked about that. Aye, she did. She said, right, I want to have a wee baby. She wants to have a wee baby. And the biological clock might be ticking. So, like, regardless of whether she wins or she loses, this could be the last time. And I just want to say, Joanne, well done, like, you represented yourself well. And your people of Scotland. And you're great. Shout out Joanne Calderwood. No, by all accounts, could be. And I think from what she said, she strongly alluded that this will be the last fight of her career. Well done to Joanne Wood, Joanne Calderwood. She was a great Thai boxer, came to the UFC. She almost had a title fight. She had it in the bag. She was supposed to fight Shevchenko. She thought, I'd take one more against Jennifer Maia. That gamble did not pay off, but she's had some great fights as well. Very, very fun style to watch. So there it is. UFC 299. Going to be a good one. What's on your mind, Harrington? I can see you're perplexed.
No, nothing. I'm not perplexed. I was literally just visualizing the card in my head. That's my thinking face.
That was his regular face.
Okay, well, stop it. If you have a question, please send it into bympod@gmail.com.
And if you're listening on Spotify or wherever you find podcasts, make sure that you subscribe. Leave us a 5-star rating, positive review. It really helps out on all those platforms. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell to find out whenever a new video drops. And if you want to catch up for 500 episodes you can't find it anywhere else, completely ad-free and totally uncensored, head to gasdigital.com. Use the promo code BYM. Get a 7-day free trial. Check out over 20 great shows on the network.
All right, so today's first question is from Harrington's biggest fan, Jordan.
Guys, do you know if you had time travel powers, what part of your life would you love to relive? What part would you love to change? And guys, I seriously hope Cheeto wins on the weekend. Bisping, I'll bet you a tenner he wins. I mean, you know, that's as much as I can do because I'm broke. Anyway, love you.
Well, thank you very much. Unfortunately, buddy, if you saw the show, you will know that I've got Cheeto. So you're going to have to go with the flow and get down to the bookies if you want to put some money on someone, because I ain't taking that bet, bro, even though it's only for a tenner. Time travel. Does he mean a period of our life? When can I go back to? I do believe when I was champion of the world, that was a good year, man. 2016. I wouldn't mind reliving that one. I did a lot of travel back then. But Rebecca always says if she could go to any period, she would love to go to Victorian England. I just tell her, I say, you don't want to do that.
I was about to say, I don't think she really does want to go back to Victorian England.
No.
Everyone stinks. There's no sewage. Yeah. There's like sewage on the floor because there's no pipes.
It was a shithole. If you were like the queen or a very, a lord or a lady, granted, and you had your servants and all the rest of it, you were living a great life.
I promise you, your house is better.
My house now?
Oh, yeah. I promise you, you live better than the queen did in the Victorian age.
Oh, no, I know. You don't mean that, buddy. But she just loves the way everyone was all dressed up. She loves the style. She loves the clothing, the outfits, everything, the houses, the antiques, the furniture, you name it. But I'm like, babe, no. Nobody, toilet paper didn't exist. It wasn't a thing. Brian, just look that up. When was toilet paper invented? When did people start wiping their ass? That's what I really want to know. Never mind the analysis. Never mind Anthony Joshua, Francis Ngannou. When did actual toilet paper become a thing? What's your guess, Harrington? Harrington's like, people wipe their asses?
You use paper for that? That seems like a massive waste. I'm going to say the invention of actual toilet paper is probably around the same time as the toilet. So I'm going to say, like, what is that? 1580 something. Sir Harrington invented it.
No, okay. Brian, do we have an answer? A definitive one at that?
So it seems here in the 1800s, toilet paper started making its popularity around the world, and in 1857, the first patent for toilet paper was filed. 1857, and that was in New York. So before then, everybody else was just gross and scooped the shells or whatever. I don't know.
Okay, all right. Silly question. What else do we have, Brian? You're gonna have to come back, buddy. In fact, Brian, Harrington, if you could go to one period of history, where would that be?
So you can't go back before your kid is born, because then you change every decision you made. Your kid's not going to be the same. What?
You can. Wait till you've had kids for 20 years, bro. You want to go back to before they were born. You know what I mean?
All right, fair enough. But for where I'm at right now, I would literally
change a few things on the what did he call it on Back to the Future? The timeline. What did he call it?
Yeah, the space-time continuum.
The space-time continuum. That's the power of love. I love that.
I think I would go back to like last March and just buy Bitcoin. I think that's it. That's the move.
You wouldn't go back to 2004?
Not before my baby was born.
To buy Bitcoin?
I would go back to before I sold all my Bitcoin. Because I had quite a few. Sold it all.
Well, our next question is from Jacob.
But not much, by the way. For not much, for like next to nothing.
Oh, I'm sure. I mean, some dude...
Could you believe they'll give me $100 for this thing?
One dude bought a pizza for like 31,000 Bitcoin, when it first started.
The other day, Bitcoin was at $68,000.
Yeah.
It dropped down to 63. I think it's back up to about $65,000 a coin. Insane. And the same, by the way, because Bitcoin it's almost reached its limit. It's not a unlimited.
There's another halving in April.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, but still, it's going to run out eventually. It's just going to get more and more valuable. They're saying like $500,000 or $1 million a coin one day.
Here's a conspiracy theory for you. Bitcoin was invented by the Federal Reserve to juke everybody's money into it.
Oh, that's a good one. But was it invented by Shinsho somebody in Japan?
Satoshi Nakamura, which is a pseudonym for an imaginary person. Like, it's not a real person.
Satoshi Nakamura. And if you look at it at 4 p.m. on a Tuesday through a kaleidoscope, there you see it. FBI, United States of America, federal government, clear as day, bro. But it's got to be 3 o'clock in the afternoon. It's got to be sunny, and it's got to be through a kaleidoscope. Then you see it. I mean, come on.
Only on a leap year.
Yeah, exactly. Only on a leap year. What else we got,
Jeez. All right, so we got Jacob here asking about where he can spend his Bitcoin.
Yo, BYM, Jake here from Pennsylvania with another quick question. Not really an MMA question, but spring break's next week, and I'm trying to plan a little place to go. And I was just wondering if you guys had any recommendations in the United States of a nice, like, chill place to go in March. Hell yeah. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you.
All right. Right on, Jake. Good to hear from you. I'm glad he wasn't asking about Bitcoin, but I'm not the best person to ask. You are the Americans. You have lived your entire life here. He's on the East Coast. I'm not too familiar. I'm going to go to Atlantic City soon, but
I'm not a savage, Mike. I vacation in Europe.
Oh God, Jesus Christ! If you had to advise Jake, where would you go? Somewhere nice and chill.
College kid spring break. You're in PA. The best move I would say would be Myrtle Beach. You're
looks like hell on earth.
What? Myrtle Beach rules. Myrtle Beach has the most mini golf per capita. What?
The most what?
Has the most mini golf per capita. It's got beautiful beaches, great bars, good nightlife.
Nobody wants mini golf.
Everyone wants mini golf.
He likes bad things, Mike. I don't know what to say.
Nobody wants mini golf.
All right. Drop it in the comments if you're a mini golf fan. Mini golf rules.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. Even Happy Gilmore didn't like mini golf. Okay. No, the mini golf. Rebecca hates mini golf because I used to take Lucas and the kids when we were younger. She's like, oh my God, just get the thing in. Can we just move on? We've been in here for hours now. Okay. Yeah, mini golf sucks. Brian, where would you vacation if you were Jake?
Maybe Colorado. Maybe Colorado. I like Colorado.
You want a nice
college
quiet
kid? How they get to Colorado for spring break?
He's in Pennsylvania. You could just take a long drive.
All right,
okay, these questions are painful. Do we have a semi-decent question? And if you do have one, send it in to bympod@gmail.com.
Well, this is Langtree, and he's asking about some of the basic things here. We're gonna just play this.
Hello to the best MMA crew on the planet. Guys, I have a question for Michael and Anthony. Since you guys are fighters yourselves, I would like you guys to please give us the believers an insight as to what fighters mean or what analysts mean specifically when they say, oh, this fighter has the experience advantage. Like, what does that specifically mean? Does that mean that they know how to survive wars? That they know how to pace their breathing? Like, specifically, if you guys could give us a glimpse of what that means, that would be very interesting for me, because honestly, generally, I don't know what that specifically means. Thank you guys for posing the question and keep up the great work, and thank you, Harrington.
That's a good question, right? The reality is, I don't know. I've heard other people say it, so I just say it. I'm like, this might fill 30 seconds of our time. No, it's a key thing. Like, for example, before Dean Thomas was talking about Dustin having the experience in the 5-round fight, so you know how to pace yourself, because Benoit Saint-Denis hasn't. So he might go out there looking for the finish because he's got 5 finishes in a row. So therefore, he truly believes he can finish everybody. So he might go out, overextend himself, not pace himself, and then get tired in rounds 3, 4, and 5. Okay. Poirier, being around as long as he has, still believes he can finish people, but knows you can't finish everybody. And of course, knows with 5 rounds, it's not a sprint. Okay. You've got to pace yourself a little bit differently. In terms of when you're more experienced, stylistically, you can look at a fight and say, right, I'm getting out wrestled here. I've got to mix things up. When you go through experiences, you learn. That's why you can't buy it. You have to earn it. Like, for example, you get caught in a fight, right? You get a massive punch and you think, okay, let's just throw down. Let's fire back. That fight or flight instinct kicks in. Okay. But then you get hit with another shot and you go to sleep. Well, next time you might be like, shit, next time I get caught like that, the smart move is to get on your bike. That's a footwork for you, term for using your footwork to circle a little bit whilst you blow off the cobwebs, or shoot in, try and clinch, tie them up in an over and under against the fence. And then you've got 20, 30 seconds whilst you're doing that to recover. That's experience. Staying calm when you get dropped or when you get taken down, not panicking. When you're getting back to your feet, right? You see it all the time with younger fighters. They move back towards the fence and then they turn over like this. They give up the back. The opponent jumps on their back. They get choked out. You've up, okay? Experience is that's how you get better, because you make mistakes and you go, shit, that is what I did. So ultimately, experience, it comes down to not always making mistakes, but a lot of the time it is making mistakes and learning from them. But going through camps, training camps, the more camps you have, the more experience. With every single training camp that you go through, the weight cut might have been shit on one. The next one, the weight cut went really smooth. So you're like, well, what did I do different? As you look at that, you identify some key things. That's experience, because everybody's body is different. The coaches might say, this works for me, so do it for you. But it doesn't work for you, okay? Because everybody's body is different, you know? The diet that you use or whatever it is, there's a million different ways. But as you go through your career, you figure things out, you learn, the emotional side. You know what I mean? When I was younger, I used to, I go find a dark part of the room. I'd sit there, I'd close my eyes, I'd wind myself up. I'd think about all the sacrifices I've been through, and I'd think about all the hardships and try and go out like that. Well, by the time I was 37 years old, I knew that isn't the mindset at all. You want to be cool, calm, and collected. You want to be jovial. You want to be having some fun in the locker room. You want to be calm. You know, so again, that's experience, and there's not a one size fits all. So that's why a coach can't just hand it down and tell you everything, because what works for one doesn't necessarily work for another. I think I did a good job of explaining that.
Yeah, no, that was incredible.
Do you have anything to add, Harrington?
Yeah, I have so much knowledge on my experience. Absolutely not. That was
What about your experience in hosting comedy nights in New York?
Well,
no, I'm serious. But you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, it's, like anything that you do in your life, the 10,000 hour rule applies, right? Like, by the time you got to that point where you were 37 years old, you had probably put in between all your time in training, all your time fighting, going back to mixed martial arts as a kid, you probably had about 10,000 hours worth of experience by the time you got your hands around that belt. And that's true for anyone, right? They say it takes about 10 years of really busting your ass doing something to hit that level where you can call yourself a master, and you see that's why I picked Dustin Poirier in that fight, because I think you need to be somebody like a Justin Gaethje who's also put in that 10,000 hours to catch someone like Dustin Poirier.
And Anthony Joshua has tons of experience. Francis Ngannou has none. Maybe that comes back and bites him in the ass. Maybe the inexperience in the boxing world and the success that he has against Tyson Fury means that this time he's going to come out like a bat out of hell. He's going to swing for the fences. He believes he can drop Tyson Fury, therefore he can drop Anthony Joshua, a man that has been knocked out before, but maybe he doesn't go his way. And then afterwards he's like, shit, hold on, I made a mistake there. So he learned a valuable lesson, which is what they call experience. And then now, in my experience, it's time to end this podcast. We're wrapping up. You know where we're going. You've listened to the show. You know what we're going to go or say or do. That's it. Enjoy the fights. I'll be doing a live broadcast for the Joshua versus Ngannou fight tomorrow, if you want to check that out. We will be back on Monday, of course, with the great Anthony Smith. So be sure to check that out also. Have a good weekend.